What's up, jackalopes? I'm Hope, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be putting together my February TBR. As usual, I'm going to be playing my TBR game, which I call TBR Betrayal, and if you haven't seen it, it is based on the board game Betrayal at the House on the Hill, which is a horror exploration game, essentially. But I have my own version of that, and we'll be playing that momentarily. First, however, I do want to mention that I am participating in BookTube Spin for February and March, and I'm also going to be reading a couple of things for some classes that I'm taking this semester that I think are going to be pretty interesting. So I will talk about all of those books at the end. And for now, let's just jump into the game. Hang on, actually, I need to go through the books that I was supposed to read last month because if I didn't finish all of them, that affects where I start at the beginning of this month. So, for January, I had recently added to your TBR, which I chose Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas for. I then had Mood Read, which I used Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia for. Then I had TBR Vet, published before 2015, and I picked The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice for that one. And then last, I had an Omen, which was The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. And of those, I managed to finish 3. Mostly. So I did read Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I did read The Devotion of Suspect X. I did not finish reading Cemetery Boys, but I decided to be kind to myself because it's my game and my rules, and I swapped it out for another book that I had gotten around the same time, which was The Monster of Elendhaven by Jennifer Geisbrecht, and so I did finish reading that one. So I'm counting that prompt recently added to your TBR as completed, which means that I did not complete one of the prompts for last month, and I will need to move backwards one space for the start of this month. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to randomly generate a number between 1 and 11, since Cersei is now off the list, and find out who we're going to be playing this month. Okay, so 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this month we have Dorian Gray. Alright, and since I didn't finish one of my prompts, we'll be moving backwards by 1. So Dorian will be starting here. So that's straightforward enough. Not too bad. I didn't finish, everything, but only moving back 1 seems reasonable. Okay, and then Dorian's knowledge stat is 3, so I'll need to have 3 books on my TBR for the month of February, which also, that seems very doable. So, he's one of the lower knowledge stats. He's kind of a dumb boy, but he'd have to sell his soul like that. Anyway, first roll. And we got a 1, so we are right back where Cersei left off. Thank you for yeeting yourself down, Dorian. Okay, so it is an Omen, and the book is The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. And since I have now, I believe that's 2 omens on the in play now, so I gotta do a haunt roll quick. I don't want a number smaller than 2. Oh my god, dudes. So, we got a 1. I have never seen the haunt happen that quickly. Okay, so with the haunt, I'm gonna have to randomly generate a color, and I think I've said previously that the haunt thing would apply to the next month, but I don't think that totally makes sense for that. So actually, quick roll change, as much as it's gonna fuck me over here, haunt counts for this month. I can't believe I started the haunt this early. Okay. Hang on, let me figure out what color we are going to be doing. Get back to my Notion page. I think I have color generator. Okay, so random color is blue, and I won't be looking for that specific color, but I do have a blue monster. Okay, so this month's complication, this month's monster, is that every book that I put on my TBR for the rest of this TBR, so the last two, unless they come up as omens, they have to be books that I bought new, so I can't use any of the books that I bought secondhand. Alrighty, we're off to a great start. Alright, so after that auspicious beginning, here's our next roll. Let's see what happens. I got another 1. Oh, this is exciting. So I don't know if it's visible, but this is a challenge tile. So we're gonna get one of these challenges. And we get challenge. Did I shuffle these? Hang on, did I shuffle these? I did. So we got challenge number 1. Our pretty challenge card. It doesn't say anything on it except for challenge number 1. I wrote challenges, but they were too long. Okay, so challenge number 1 says, Timber. A mischievous poltergeist is toppling a bookshelf directly into your path. Attempt a speed roll of 5+ to run past before it hits the ground, and move forward 1 tile. If you fail, step back 2 tiles to avoid impact. Okay, well, let's see, what's Dorian's speed? He has a speed of 6, so I need to get, so I can use all 6 dice, and I need to get at least 5 to, get back up here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, thrillingly, we're moving back 2 tiles because Dorian's not good at running. So, I don't know why I'm surprised. He's a vain gentleman. Of course he's not good at running. Okay, so moving back 2 spaces puts us back where we started. I'm never going to get to the end of this house, but it is an event tile. And I got urban fantasy, so I need to read an urban fantasy that I bought new. Okay. Let's see if we can move forward a little further. We got 2, which puts us back on challenge. Exciting. So this time we got challenge 6. I know, it's a very exciting card, isn't it? So challenge 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Forbidden knowledge. A mysterious being blocks your path and hands you a scroll, claiming that it can tell you the future. Read the scroll if you dare, and attempt a knowledge roll of 5+ to decipher the strange words. If you succeed, look at the next omen card and move it to the bottom of the stack if you wish. Okay, so I need a knowledge roll of 5+. Dorian's knowledge is 3, so I don't think we're gonna get this one, but yeah, I was right. We got a 2. So that's fine. It just means that we don't get to find out what the omen is and move it if I don't want to read it. So now next roll, and we got a 2. So we finally get to move forward a little bit, and we're down here, and it's an event. So this one says a play. So I have 3 books on my TBR now. I have House of Silk, and then I will have an urban fantasy and a play, both of which I bought new. That's about it. Oh, and the omen counter is set to 0. I really wasn't expecting to get an omen that quickly, and obviously I started the haunt, so that was an exciting turn of events. But the omen that I got is The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. This is a Holmes and Watson adventure. I believe it's one of the first new books as a continuation of the series in 200 years, basically, but it is an officially condoned continuation by the Arthur Conan Doyle estate, and it follows Holmes and Watson as they are investigating when a fine arts dealer believes that he's being stalked by some criminal who's followed him to England from America, and so they're dealing with a stalker situation until people start turning up dead. So I think this sounds like it'll be a typical fun Holmes adventure, and I'm looking forward to picking this one up. Now, because of that being an omen, you saw I started the haunt, which means that everything else on my list from my game has to be a book I bought new. and I really was not expecting to get the haunt that quickly, given that I only had 2 omens in play, so that was a little bit unsettling. But it all worked out fine in the end. So for an urban fantasy bought new, I decided to read Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This one doesn't look new because I've already started reading it, but I read about half of it, and then I was reading it in like January or February of 2020, and obviously the world kind of fell apart shortly thereafter, and I just kind of stopped reading it. But I was really enjoying it, and I am looking forward to finishing this one. I actually have an audiobook of this, so I'm probably going to read it on audio mostly this time around, because then I can re-experience the first half of the book that way, and then hopefully finally finish it so I can watch the Prime adaptation. And then for a play I bought new, I have another book that, again, doesn't look new because I've already started reading it, but this is the plays of Anton Chekhov, and I'm going to be reading Swan Song, which is the first play in this book. And that one is a 1-act dramatic sketch, I think is the phrasing on it, about an actor who has kind of a late life crisis and is concerned about having wasted his life as an actor. So it's basically a mostly monologue of that situation. And I've enjoyed everything I've ever read from Chekhov before, so I do think I'm going to like this one a lot. And, yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's going to be a short read because it is a 1-act play. So, as I mentioned earlier, I also have a couple of extra things that I'm going to be reading because this is all I technically have to read in February for this game, I should clarify. But I'm also going to be doing a buddy read with Cece from Cece's Reading Journey, and I'll link her channel down below. But I'm buddy reading Death in the Park by London Lovett with her for a series on her channel, so keep an eye out for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, that video, when it comes out. So this is the first book. I'm clearly not sure where the camera is here. I'm directionally challenged. It's fine. This is the first book in a cozy mystery series that follows a journalist named Sunny Taylor who moves to Firefly Junction, which is a small town in the Smoky Mountains, and she moves there to be closer to her family and to renovate this old bed and breakfast. Or rather, it's an old manor, and she's going to renovate it and turn it into a bed and breakfast. And she starts dealing with that, and to fund her renovations, she's also working for the local paper. And on her very first day, she's assigned to this human interest story that she thinks isn't going to be very interesting, but then it turns into a murder investigation, and she becomes determined to solve it before the police. So this is going to be a fun read, and also, again, keep an eye out for that video, because I think that's going to turn out really cool in the end, too. And then, on top of all of that, I'm also participating in BookTube Spin, which is organized by Rick McDonnell, and the number that came up for that was, I believe it was 15. And for me, 15 on my list was The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And this follows a man named Daniel, who is the son of, I think, an antique book dealer. And he, after the death of his mother, finds solace in this specific book by an author named Julian Carricks, and the book is The Shadow of the Wind. And he starts looking for other books by Julian Carricks, only to find that somebody has been systematically destroying all of Carricks's works, and the book that Daniel himself owns may be the last existing Carricks book. And so he goes on this kind of quest to find out why. This is the first book in a series. I believe it's the Cemetery of Forgotten Books. It's actually not written on here, but I'm pretty sure that's the name of the series. And the reason I stuck this on my BookTube spin list, and the reason I'm looking forward to picking this one up, is that I actually read the third book in this series without knowing that it was part of a series back in high school because somebody lent it to me. I read it in like 2 or 3 days and returned it to them, and it genuinely is one of the best books I've ever read. So the third book is The Prisoner of Heaven. But I have been meaning to get to this one ever since I found out that that was part of a series, and then I just haven't made the time for it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because I loved the writing in The Prisoner of Heaven, so I think I'm going to love this one too. So really, BookTube Spin was pretty kind to me. It's not a terribly long book. It's like 500 pages or something, and I know that I'm going to love the writing style, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I also have to read a couple of things for classes because I'm currently taking 2 English classes. I'm getting ready to apply to do a master's in English, but my existing degree is in psychology and sociology, so I wanted to get some extra undergraduate, upper-level English classes on my transcript before I applied. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm taking one class that is a critical approaches class, so it's all like theoretical foundations for the study of literature. And then I'm taking one that's the literature of oceans, which is if I can get the description right, it's like African, Asian, and Caribbean literature about the oceans and about like the movement of people across the ocean, the movement of goods, just all kinds of topics related to that. And they're both really interesting classes so far. But for my theory class, I'm going to be reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which I've never read before. I've never read any Arthurian legend, so I'm pretty excited to pick this one up. I think it's going to be interesting. I also know that the whole thing is in verse, and it's not terribly long. It's like 2,500 lines. It's like 64 pages in this edition. And really, this edition, the poem only goes to like basically page 64. So the rest of this is all like theory and criticism about the poem. So I think that this will be not a quick read exactly because it is translation from Middle English, so it'll take a little bit of brain power there. But I think that it'll at least be interesting, and it better be because I have to write like 6 papers on this. So fingers crossed that I love it. The other one that I'm reading for my other class is African Titanics by Abu Bakr Khal, I think that's correct. But this is about a migrant named Abdar and his journey to attempt to cross the Mediterranean Sea and get into Italy. And so it follows all of the things that happen to him during that journey when he leaves Eritrea, which is where he's from, which is a place that I didn't know existed until I started reading this book and until we started talking about it, because geography is not taught very strongly in the US. So that's been really interesting learning about that. But the author is also himself from Eritrea, and I believe he lives in Denmark now. But I think this will be a really emotional read. It's going to be a difficult one. It's about the what are they calling it in Europe? The European migration crisis, basically. But it's, I think, going to be just really interesting, and probably it's going to rip my heart out a little bit. But I'm looking forward to reading this one, actually, because I'm looking forward to reading something that's very different from what I normally read, and that will probably make me think about the world in a different way. So I'm very excited about this one. But those are actually all of the books that I am planning to read in February. So let's see if I can pick them up, or if I'll just dump them everywhere. We'll see. Maybe E. So that is my stack, and I think that this is probably, it's fine, everything's fine. This is probably doable. I'm just going to hold them safely back here now. I am looking forward to reading all of these. I think that February is going to be a good reading month, and one thing that really works out for me is the fact that I had a great reading month in January. So I'm hoping that that energy is going to carry over into this coming month. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I really enjoyed doing my TBR game, even though it doesn't sound like it in my clips, but, you know, it was fun. And I am looking forward to reading all of these. It was really quite kind to me this month. With all of that said, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.